also learning more tonight about that school shooting in South Carolina. Authorities say a teenager killing his father and then heading to the elementary school. And it turns out there were warning signs about the boy before. ABC's Steve Osinsami is there again tonight.
Police tell us that before the shooting at the school, the first tragic event was the shooting death of the teen's father at the family home. Then shortly before 1:45 p.m., they say the 14-year-old drove himself to Townville Elementary in this black pickup truck, where he crashed a fence and yelled that he hated his life as he shot wildly in the air with a handgun. A teacher and 2 students were wounded on the playground. Help arrives next. Firefighter Jamie Brock, a 30-year veteran, and Fire Chief Bill McAdams. McAdams says he had to tie a tourniquet around the leg of 6-year-old Jacob Hall, who's still fighting for his life tonight.
It can come to your community, it can come to your small town. You never know, and that's what happened to us yesterday.
Outside, firefighter Jamie Brock is unarmed and risks his own life when he tackles the teen. Tonight, he's avoiding the spotlight, saying in a statement that the true heroes of yesterday's senseless tragedy are the teachers. Because he's a minor, authorities are sharing little about the teenager in police custody. Many people here know his family well. We're told he had to be pulled out of public school years ago. In a statement of her own tonight, the teen's mother says she is shocked and saddened by the senseless actions of her son. David?
Steve, good evening, and we begin tonight with that horrific crash right at the height of rush hour. That train crashing with no warning. Passengers say it didn't even slow down. It happened at the Hoboken station in New Jersey, right across the Hudson River here in New York City. The chaos after the crash, dazed passengers making their way out, walking away from the wreckage. Train workers leading them through wires and fallen beams. First responders rushing to the scene. More than 100 people were injured, at least 1 person dead. ABC's Gio Benitez is on the scene in Hoboken.
Tonight, that rush hour horror. These are the terrifying first images of the mangled mess inside the train station. The packed commuter train speeding through the barriers and crashing into the station. Debris and wires everywhere. Passengers stunned. 7:23 this morning, train number 1614 carrying 250 passengers leaving Spring Valley, New York. 3 cars, 1 engine in the back. 8:05 a.m., surveillance video of the train shows it heading south toward the Hoboken station, where thousands of New York City commuters pass through every morning. As it approached the busy station at about 8:45 a.m., the train never slowed down.
We approaching the station, so everybody's thinking the train is going to slow down, and just collided.
The emergency calls began pouring in.
We have a train that has gone through the station. We got multiple walking wounded. We got serious structural damage here at Hoboken Terminal.
Transit employee Michael Larson watched it all from about 30 feet from the station.
It went through the air, traveled about another 40 feet, and the train flying into the depot. Just kind of couldn't believe what I was seeing.
Others simply hearing the crash.
All of a sudden, I just hear this wicked, gnarly metal sounds like nails on a chalkboard.
As the dust settles, those first images, the first car badly damaged, train officials ushering commuters away from the scene, evacuating one by one through a window.
I saw a couple gentlemen bleeding, and some people couldn't walk. The conductor himself, he had blood all over his face and his clothing.
First responders descending on the scene, assessing damage. Further down, peering into the train windows, looking for more survivors, some still stuck inside.
We ran over, and there were a lot of people kicking out windows, trying to exit the train.
Omar Mamoon was inside the train.
It was shaking side to side and the lights went out. People were falling on top of each other.
Right outside, the chaos. Police racing into the terminal as firefighters triage the injured sitting on the street. Ambulances racing to the scene. Paramedics with stretchers and wheelchairs loading dozens in, treating the more than 100 injured, some of them critically. The train's engineer, Thomas Gallagher, among those rushed to the hospital. Tonight, he's been treated and released. Many of those injured were on the platform, including one woman, 34-year-old Fabiola Betar de Kroon from Hoboken, who lost her life after being struck by flying debris.
Were they just waiting for the train?
Probably got hit by the debris. That's probably what happened, because there was debris. I'm talking about iron metal all over the place. You just heard kaboom.
And when I looked back, I saw injured people and blood, and the ceiling collapsed, the water gushing down. There was the exit by the platform that we were at. People were running and falling. There was a man with a toddler over his shoulders and his wife that were walking in front of me, and they saw as they ran. And, me and some other people helped them up to run out when we got out of the building, because we saw that it was collapsing. We didn't know what was going on at that point.
Arcely, did you have a sense of how fast that train was going at the time of impact?
I'm not sure how fast it was going. It's just normally its platform is really busy, and the trains usually aren't going fast, but you don't hear that screeching. The train was derailing down on people. People were running for their lives. There was just a lot of chaos going on. I'm just grateful that somebody behind me yelled to run. I had my headphones on. Like, going forward, I won't have my headphones on as I'm commuting, just to be more aware of what's going on.
Arcely, we're happy you're okay, and we thank you for
the storm that's going to impact the East Coast for a few days. I think we just heard a little bit of it in Washington.
You really could, and right in that area, they are in the bullseye. In fact, remember this scene back in July. This was Ellicott City, Maryland. Cars literally being washed away by flash flooding. Well, guess what? That same area is getting ready to deal with more heavy rain again today. Folks are sandbagging and getting set. We're also looking at heavy rain down in North Carolina right now. And in fact, we've got flash flood emergencies in parts of central North Carolina. As we go to the radar, you can see just exactly what's going on. There's the flash flood emergency, the flash flood warnings down in Fayetteville. We've got flash flood watches and warnings also in effect for 12 million people now. This is a long-lasting duration. We've got this upper level low, literally an atmospheric river. Tons of moisture coming in off the Atlantic, so we're going to have consecutive days of heavy rain. The bullseye going to be in parts of western and northern Virginia, West Virginia, and stretching into the Northeast. It is going to be a real soaker. We need the rain in the Northeast, but this area is going to be very hard to hit.
100-mile-an-hour winds. That is Hurricane Matthew now in the Caribbean. Here, still forecast to make a turn to the north. That would be impacting Jamaica and Cuba through the early part of next week. Thereafter, moving into the Bahamas, and after that, of course, too early to call as far as how close it gets to Florida, but it looks to continue to move.